Master Obi-Wan Kenobi. I regret to report that both our Jedi Order and the Republic have fallen, with the dark shadow of the Empire rising to take their place. This message is a warning and a reminder for any surviving Jedi. Trust in the Force.
They've outgrown their age of rebellion, dulled the Empire's edge, defeated Imperial generals and the Pirate Queen's dredge. They've been soldiers and scoundrels, what's there left to be? How about lost acolytes looking for their force and destiny? There's a seer, hermit, investigator, and teacher. Better watch your back or a vibe or ring's gonna reach you. Will this team find the light or will darkness win the day? Find out with the heroes of the Hydian Way.
Previously on Heroes of the Hydian Way, 4 travelers salvaged a ship and started a quest that sent them across the galaxy after the legacy of Soldier Ward. On a jungle planet, they stood against a fallen learner, lost in the shadows of his own despair. On a planet of mist, they were pursued by a man of violence, nearly falling to his blade. On a planet of water, they pondered the path they chose to tread and the feat that went before. Surely many decisions await, but Hillary and Koba found their ride, Skip prepped snacks, and Kesh got a bead on Ward. It's time to fly. Join them this week as they shoot for the stars.
Welcome to Heroes of the Hydian Way. This is a Star Wars actual play podcast, and we're playing in Fantasy Flight Games' Force and Destiny system, with an adventure inspired by the Chronicles of the Gatekeeper, as developed by Tim Cox and Max Brook. This is Act 3, Episode 9, and I'm Ben, the GM for this adventure.
I'm Kesh, the Trandoshan Mystic Seer and Neiman Disciple, and Christine forgot to write a bit for this week, and realized it, right now.
I'm Koba, the Doug Sentinel Investigator, and Sheehan Expert, and Brandon never had to write bits, he just...
Well,
improvised off the cuff.
Brandon is a much better improviser than Christine is.
I don't think that's true.
And I'm Skip, the Kalaran Seeker Hermit, and Ren is very proud of Brandon for having remembered to eat before today's adventure.
What?
The bar is really low, as you can tell.
Well, Christine is proud of Brandon, too. And I feel like we're old Gand now.
And, hello. I'm Hillary Aloric. Hi, Lord. Over here. Doing my sagely teacher thing. And Leslie is just jazzed to be on the show.
To learn more about our heroes, we get one task, another a question. And it is now Koba's turn.
Where's that improvisation, Brandon?
I wasn't talking about this part.
Uh-huh.
I'm sensing a lot of hostility today. Maybe we should all just take a breath.
I'm sensing a complete lack of spreadsheets, like somebody has.
Okay,
Look, I don't even own a data pad, Skip.
That's
Koba
fair.
shoves his data pad under a thing.
Well, Koba, what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to ask, what you want to know about them.
I mean,
or sometimes ask something that is going to just throw them off.
You'd think that asking questions was kind of my thing, being,
An investigator.
An investigator.
Yeah, I would have thought that too, but...
Yeah.
Oh, well, then just ask an investigative kind of question, like, where were you on the night of, whatever.
I mean, we have been split up for a little while.
Maybe it's more of the assumptive investigating.
I haven't distrusted any of your reasons for going on that vacation where we met in the first place enough, I think.
Which your? That was not specific, and I am wholly innocent.
That's the plural your, that's the all of you.
Oh, well, it was Hillary's fault.
Oh, I see.
Well, that wasn't very kind.
Wait, you're the one who wanted to go.
Well, yes. It's giant mushrooms.
I was more interested in the predators than the mushrooms, but
And you know what we
you
saw?
said it wasn't going to be a hunting trip.
Pretty sure the only thing those kids hunted were mushrooms, if you know what I mean. They seemed entirely at peace with the universe.
Well, I was just sort of along for the ride because, the sort of way that I was traveling around the universe for a while was just, go on really cheap trips that have, all things included, like lodging and food. So that was just sort of, one stop on the old hitchhiking around the galaxy kind of thing.
On the old skip train.
Gosh, I think I forgot a towel.
That's not a good thing. You should always know where that is.
I know.
There's one thing, Skip, that's kind of bothering me.
Mm-hmm.
Most people, when they start hitchhiking, they'd have a destination in mind, or at least a goal or something. How else do you figure out whose freighter you should hop into the passenger seat of? But
I don't think you've met that many hitchhikers then, Koba.
you seem to not have that.
No. I've heard some people say that the journey is kind of the destination. So I think that's my approach to life.
Okay, so let me remember to do my other job here, get us back on track. Our destiny pool for this episode consists of 2 light side points and 4 dark side points. So start thinking of uses for them, Ben.
Yeah, I can't think of anything that would cause dark side use that's happened in the last 2 episodes. Nothing at all.
Well, I only know what happened in one of those episodes, and I legitimately can't think of anything that would cause it, so yeah, we're fine.
Oh boy, have we got news for you.
I'm starting off with a question for Ren.
Right. So did they all just take off or something? Because the last place that we all left off together was when we were all working on the lightsabers.
There was work on the lightsabers, and then there was a little bit after that where got to use them a tiny bit. Essentially, a week has passed, or thereabouts, since the lightsabers were done. Some of it's been like fully healing up, making sure that L2 has been checking in with everyone who has been on the verge of death, so all of you. CMT R14 is puttering around, trying to help everyone, trying to get everyone into a more Jedi-ish mindset, and trying to deal with some of the stuff that happened on Jorah. So about a week has gone on. Everyone's sort of not exactly lost track of each other, but the place is kind of getting a bit old. My question is, what would Skip get up to after a week on that station?
I mean, there was all of that talk about foraging for different mushrooms and then different bugs for Kesh.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that there's definitely at least one room that Skip has taken over with just having hung dead bugs and mushrooms from strings that they have laced across the whole of the ceiling to start drying them. Skip is still in survival prepper mode and is making sure that they have enough dried food for wherever it is that they're going next. I think the inclination that Skip is feeling right now is to just try to be more prepared, try to be a little calmer, less in everyone's way. Skip's a little in their own head right now. Yeah. And training with the...
All of you are getting at least a little bit of training with a lightsaber.
Yeah, because I haven't picked what header I'm doing with that.
Skip is in this room that they've taken over, and I'm thinking has just brought in some more mushrooms when all of a sudden, it's hard to say whether it's heard or felt, and it is a very low thump. And then another thump. And this is enough to cause everything to chatter on the shelves. Everything that's hanging now is just bouncing on the end of its strings and starting to go side to side. It kind of feels like a somewhat regular earthquake, as opposed to a normal earthquake, which is somewhat irregular. Like, there's a pretty... whatever's going on is something huge and is hitting the floor or the ground.
Skip is going to walk out into the door frame and do that thing that people who don't necessarily know precisely why, but they're told to, hunker down in the door frame for earthquakes and call out, Hey! Does anyone know what that noise is? Cash? Koba? Hillary?
Now, Kesh did send Skip a couple of comm calls. Is this before or after all that?
This would be just after all of the stuff Kesh has gotten up to. This is somewhat during the stuff that Koba and Hillary got up to.
So the last thing you would have heard from Kesh, Ren, is she did call Skip, letting Skip know she was going back down to like the utilities level, like the area where she got electrocuted and stuff, and to come find her if she didn't check in within an hour.
My question is, do our comms have the equivalent of like space voicemail?
So that you can ignore them?
I'm thinking yes.
Okay. Then Skip is gonna look down at their waist where, they have a utility belt, and Skip's gonna pull out their comm and kind of look at it and shake it, hold it up to their ear.
Bleep, bleep.
Shake it again and kind of hit it with the palm of their hand, and then a light turns on. Oh, I think I forgot to charge it. And then hit a button and listen to Kesh's voicemail, space voicemail.
I'm heading into the lower level, again, staying far away from the generator, no repairs planned, just seeking out the library in the meantime. But if you don't hear from me in an hour, come looking again, please.
Uh-oh.
With pretty much every single room in this facility, there's at least some form of portal outside. Unless you're on the maintenance level, but only Kesh is silly enough to go down there. There has been, for the last week or so, you just looking outside, and it's dark. Like, they've got little bioluminescent animals that are floating around, and a few bioluminescent plant-like beings that are on the sea floor, but otherwise, it's darker than space because there's no stars out there. There's only been a little bit of glow off into the side, and CMT R14 is saying that that's just their essentially running lights, like it's a little bluish-green glow underwater. Just serve to provide a tiny bit of light outside. Outside the portals have been the water-swept dunes. Nothing really more than a foot high at the highest of the peaks. But now when you look at it, it looks like there's a dust storm out there.
I guess it's a good thing Kesh didn't go out there. Then Skip is gonna try to calm Koba and Hillary.
I would think that they're a little on the busy side at the moment. They may be able to answer, though.
Then Skip is gonna leave another space voicemail. Just like, the same one to either of them.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you! Well, I don't know if maybe you're off helping Kesh, if you also got Kesh's voicemail, but I didn't get it until just now, so I'm gonna go look for Kesh. I hope that you're already there, and, everything's fine. There might have been some sort of quake, though. Alright, bye.
And it's at that point where another thump comes down and just everything rattles on all the counters.
I don't like that. Alright. Come on, Gudge. And we're gonna go head down to where Skip thinks Kesh probably went.
I'm figuring on the way to the stairs to the lower level, you go out through the big galley/common area, which also has a giant dome on the top that you can see out. To one side, there's things like the administrator's cabin, the airlock to go up, but on the other side, there's this giant dome that you can see things out of. Like, see the fish and all the different species that are out there just sort of swimming away. In this case, what I would like to get is a 2 purple perception check, or vigilance, whichever you prefer, from Skip.
Okay.
I'm going to turn that into 1 red, 1 purple, and use one of the multitudes of points that I've got.
All right, then. So I'm rolling yellow, yellow, green, red, purple. And I have achieved 3 successes and an advantage.
As another one of those falls happen, like, this has been going on for a few minutes now, like a lot longer than most tectonic events happen. This is some giant thing stepping around. And as you're looking out through this glass, it's always been interesting to see. So yeah, now this time you're actually taking a look while you're going through the area. And you see the light outside is not really light enough to illuminate the whole thing, but you're pretty sure that you see a leg up to about mid-thigh with the amount of light that's out there.
Like, detached from its body, or?
No, it's about 120 or so feet tall.
Oh, okay. I was like, ooh, is this getting really gruesome here? Okay.
The leg itself is about 120 feet tall, that you can see.
Hmm.
The foot itself is can't really see because it's in a cloud of silt and that's been kicked up.
Am I in a position where it seems like I'm very likely about to be stepped on?
No, it looks like it is stopped. The foot is relatively close to the edge of the underwater station, but it doesn't look like it has stepped on anything. In fact, the 2 legs have stopped, and it looks like it's now just standing, looming over this underwater station.
Skip is going to get this expression on their face of just sort of starry-eyed wonder. Gutch, it's a giant. This is so cool! Well, now I think I know why, there aren't that many people here. Giants. I should probably go find Cash.
At this point, you are... Could I get a force roll from Skip?
That's just rolling my force rating?
Yep.
3 light side and 1 dark.
From this being, you can feel a dark presence rolling off of it, almost like a cloud that's falling away from it. You can see that it's now seeing in this underwater darkness and looks to be squatting near the giant dome that you have been looking at. The question I've got is, if Skip is heading off to the maintenance level, is Skip running?
At this point, yeah.
Could I get I guess it would be an athletics or a brawn check? Yeah, I guess resilience also works.
What difficulty are we looking at here?
Right, difficulty. I am going to go with, this one's going to be a hard check.
I'm just going to do resilience because I've actually got a rank in it. The hard is 3 purple, so yellow, green, green. Wow, hi dice. I'm glad to see you like me tonight. Please keep going. I have 3 successes and 2 threat. My goodness.
When you get down the stairs, there's the direction that the generator room is in, and then the other direction. Cash had said that she was going off in the other direction. So as you start running, you see a bit further down, there's these doors to the side. There's also a fairly large maintenance way where Landspeeder could probably slowly drive through. You can hear the click of Cash's walking stick / lightsaber as Cash is continuing on. You are able to almost catch up to Cash. Cash seems to have gone even further and is riding a single personal open lift up to the hangar flooring level what is there before you is the workshop for the hangar. And there's a personal lift going up that's very unenclosed. As it's clearing about head height, you're seeing Kesh going up to the higher level. Through the entire hangar and workshop that you're in, you can hear the long dormant hydraulics opening doors and closing doors, very heavy movements of metal, and then the pumps of a airlock are going as it's pushing air into this airlock and getting water out. Then more grinding and gnashing of metal as the other doors open. And finally you hear a pretty large thump on the door from the airlock. It sounds like the Quarren that you had seen, this 300-foot tall Quarren, has at least tried to smack the doorway to the airlock on the outside. And as they do, like, everything in the workshop jumps up off of its bench by about 2-3 inches and then clatters back down.
All right, so Skip sees Kesh going back up in the lift and then, experiences what the Quarren is doing and is just going to holler up in Kesh's general direction. Hey! I'm glad you're okay! I just got down here.
Do I catch that, Ben?
I'm thinking that you would be able to, barely hear that. I think between the gnashing of the airlock opening and the Quarren thumping on the outside of the hangar, it's almost drowned out, but not quite.
So I only just got down here, but there are sort of levels of balcony type things, right? So I could maybe use my fancy jump powers to get back up quicker than I got down, possibly.
Right now, you're under the main level of the hangar.
Oh, okay.
Air car was, but I'm going to go with yes, there is, off to one side, there is a opening where there's a lot of machinery for refueling and that sort of stuff to happen, to come down. Like, the main machines are down on this level of the hangar, but up where the airspeeder is, that's where all the hosing and that is. So there is several places where it's open that one could try and go up, just sort of either jumping, free climbing, that sort of thing. And I'm going to go with that there is at least one or two other of these somewhat slow-moving turbolift things.
So it's if I get at least to light side, I can do it without needing to dig into dark side, right? That's how it works? Okay. Then I got 3 light side points. So yeah, Skip's going to try to jump. Just do a big old force leap up to try to catch up with Kesh.
You come down onto the main hangar level. Standing before you, just off to the left, is Cash, who just heard you land. And then you can see, coming down through the weathered opening in the ceiling, you can see a familiar Githrock ship that is coming down and landing just across from the airspeeder. This is probably the most ostentatious Githrock 720 there is, on account of someone decided to chrome it.
Oh.
Did you find the ship? Cash asks, since Skip's the first person that she sees.
Skip's just completely staring at this thing now, wow.
How did it get here? She's gonna start moving towards the good truck once it's safely landed.
Safely landed.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't know how dignified a landing it was going to be.
Skip's not ignoring Kesh so much as just, that scene in Jurassic Park where they're just slack-jawed, staring at the dinosaurs. This is Skip just staring at this ship.
So is the ship If it seems especially unsteady or like it is going to have trouble landing, Kesh will try to assist.
Like, I'm for it.
I don't know how well it will go, but she would try. So do you actually want to make that a roll?
Sure. Let's go with that.
Not super good. I can't lift a ship with that. So I guess I am going to... It's early, but what the heck? I'm going to go ahead and use my natural mystic and re-roll that, see if I get anything better.
Wow.
Okay, so I'm going to flip a point, take the strain of the one conflict, because that would, when it gets to short range of me, I can at least help a touchdown by 1 pip to activate, 1 to up the silhouette to 2, the second one to get up the silhouette 4.
All right, and that is the silhouette that you need.
Yep.
So I'm thinking, yeah, it's coming in. It's not exactly the most graceful landing, and it does look like it was about to bounce. It touched down, at least with 2 of the 3 landing legs, and then start to bounce up again, and then you're able to get to settle down properly.
Is that something that we would have noticed on the inside, that there was external assistance?
I'm going to go with yes.
Wait a minute, you're in that? Oh.
Yeah, I'm figuring that you're going to pull Lorenzo with a landing, but then it suddenly stops trying to bounce and buck and settles down properly in a much more controlled fashion.
Koba flips on, I assume the ship has this, the external speaker.
Yeah, totally would.
Thanks for the assist. Everybody on board.
Kesh exchanges a look with Skip.
That wasn't a question. Do not want to be here any longer.
What's
He
the
really
rush?
doesn't.
Hey,
He's
is there
quite
anything
agitated.
Well, we should gather up some of the supplies.
Yeah, Skip has already just booked it back to the dried mushroom and bug jerky room.
We'll just be a few minutes, Koba, Kesh says, who's unaware of what's happening outside.
Koba mutters what is probably a relatively obscene Doug curse. That likely no one else can understand, but who knows?
Oh, that was rude, Koba.
Apple taters.
You
Look,
know,
if you're not
Koba,
back here in a few minutes, I'm leaving.
they're not wrong. We should probably take this moment to gather up supplies and tools and things. We can move this. Can we move the speeder on board?
Yeah, I'm figuring that you'd be able to.
We can move the speeder on board. Maybe not be banned from all. Was this Spurts or Spenterprise?
I think it was Spenterprise.
Or was it Spavis?
Spavis, that's one that
It
we
was
keep
Spavis.
using.
Maybe not get ourselves banned from every Spavis in the galaxy. You know.
Yeah, I heard of bounty hunting crews doing that before. It's not good in the long run.
You know what else would prevent us
what-
from being customers at any further rental businesses?
Is it death?
Death.
Thought you were going to say that.
Hey, do you know what that shaking's about?
It's at that point, like right at that point, where everything just sort of has a double shake, as if someone is doing a 2-rap on a door.
Is it shaving a haircut?
No, just knocking twice.
Oh, okay.
Is someone outside?
Kesh, I'm going to give you you can either hear the answer to that question or you can go get your stuff. Those are your options. They are exclusive. Decide.
Kesh is going to start moving. She doesn't really have much to gather herself. But I do want to... What's the droid's name?
Come try it.
I do want to find CMT R14 if possible. And maybe alert them of... there's something going on we have a ship now and are going to be departing soon. Are you and the other droids okay here?
Oh, yes. While we do every now and then have a visitor such as the one that is outside, they generally leave droids alone, and once the four of you have departed, once most Force beings have departed, then they're mostly sated, or they may have to go prepare to hibernate again.
Kesh looks really confused, but given the time limits, we'll take it at face value. Okay then, thank you for all of your help.
You're most welcome. And if we ever cross paths again, you're very welcome to stay here.
Well, if we ever just teleport in randomly, you've got it. And then she's going to go see if she can help Skip carry whatever Skip needs help carrying to the ship.
You know, I had already mentioned last time that Skip had gone through sort of a stuff overhaul in their bag. And so I think that Skip will just be packing up as much of the dried food as possible to then dash out.
As everyone who's... I'm assuming like Hillary's loading the airspeeder onto the transport. Skip is running off to get where all the dried stuff are. Kesh is running off to collect a few things and also help Skip. And I'm thinking as Kesh comes through the common area on the way to where Skip is keeping all the things that Skip has been drying out, it's at that point where it's going to be a 1 red vigilance check.
For whom?
For
Kesh.
Oh. That's good. I'm good at that.
Because I figured Koba's sitting at the controls just getting ready to go back out through the airlock.
Am I still near Skip when this happens?
Yeah, I can go with that, sure.
Okay. The 1 boost version or the 2 boost version?
If you're not directly just like beside me, then it's not the 2.
Okay. All right. So 2 yellow, 2 green, 2 boost versus a red. 3 successes and 5 advantages.
Whoa.
As you're looking around, keeping track of Skip there, you glance up and Skip had seen 2 legs going off essentially into infinity. Now you're at a different part of Jurassic Park where you see this large glowing yellow eye that is almost plastered onto the side of that window. Looks like they're trying to look in, and it's the fact that it blinks that makes it so that you notice it.
I thought all the kaiju talk were jokes.
Mm-hmm.
Let's hurry.
It's at that point where you hear it try and tap on the window. It would be thinking that would be like just wrapping, like fingernail on a glass. But it sounds a heck of a lot more loud on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like from this camera angle, you're gonna see Kesh like looking at this with concern, and Skip kind of like pop up over her shoulder, like just not realizing that this is perhaps a threat, and it's just kind of very like jovially wave at the big fella knocking.
Then we have like Kesh taking Skip by the arm and pulling you out of that frame.
What? How do we know that, they don't want to say hi?
We don't. I would rather find out from the security of the ship.
Yeah, I guess we go.
Sorry. So, and yeah, with that, I'm figuring that there's a fairly hasty packing montage, trying to jam all the different dried things into a bag. The other clothes that you had let get unpacked, the dirty laundry, that sort of stuff. As the 2 of you are getting out of the cabins that you had been in, you see the little mouse droid that had been going around on its repulsors. come to a stop as it's leading a hover pallet that then comes to a stop just in front of the cabin that Skip's in.
Oh. Skip's gonna ignore the hover pallet and lean down and talk to the mouse droid. Hey, do you want to come with us?
Since this is a mouse droid, it doesn't really have a independent head. It does a full body sort of shake no. And then it scoots a little back and then tries to nudge the pallet at Skip.
Well, you don't know what you're missing. We're really neat people.
And in a burst of binary, it says, "This place is home, and it needs it." Not sure if Skip understands binary, but...
I don't think Skip does. Skip's just going to turn to Kesh. Do you think that was rude?
I think Gudge understands binary.
From the droid? No, they've been nothing but helpful so far.
Alright, let's go.
I think they'll be okay. We may not be from the sounds of things.
Yeah, so we book it. I think. Right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think taking the pallet, the hover pallet, with us. I'm guessing there's supplies or something we might need on it.
Maybe you can ride the hover pallet.
Oh, I like this plan.
You ride the hover pallet so that we don't have to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you push.
I don't need to push. You can push it, right, with your force powers.
Or with her stick.
It's like I'm rowing.
Like you're poling.
Yeah.
Punting along on your little hover pallet.
Mm.
I was about to say, one of you needs to sing, though.
Skip. This doesn't turn very well.
So Skip will push to the best of their ability this hover thing that Kesh is now riding, and we're going to book it back to the ship. This fancy, shiny new ship.
Mostly just because, but I do want to get it. Could I get a 1 red? It'd either be a pilot planetary or athletics check.
From Skip, I take it?
I'm guessing that a boost would be...
Can I...
Oh, good golly. I just went for it. I rolled a yellow,
Okay.
So you did.
2 greens, and a red, and I got 2 successes. I regret nothing. I rolled piloting planetary, incidentally.
Okay, cool.
Skip now bolstered by the prospect of maybe getting to fly this shiny ship.
As you're running with this hover pallet down the tubes that lead to the hangar, the top of them are now completely devoid of any silt, where when you had landed, they were built up and you couldn't really see it. Now you can, and you can see this kaiju-sized Quarren that's there. And they're squatted down, and because of that, you can now see where their tentacly head is, as it looks to be following the hover pallet through the tubes, as it's looking from side to side. They're these very squid-headed looking people. They've got 4 or 5 tentacles and a clawed mouth.
I feel like there's probably, at the moment where it's clear that Skip and Kesh can see the entirety of what this creature looks like, there is a small pause when Skip just goes all starry-eyed wonder again. I feel like Kesh will probably, possibly literally slap them out of it to keep going. Depends on how frisky Kesh is.
Just sort of like the cane on like the side of the pallet, just make a sharp noise to draw your attention back towards her.
Right.
Faster.
And keeps trucking it.
Yeah, shortly thereafter, you get to the ship. Hillary, I'm thinking, has just finally gotten the air car into the ship. It's a pretty tight fit, but people are able to move along the sides of the vehicle as well as get past it. Do the two of you start to try and unload it, or are you just racing in with the pallet and just driving the pallet up the ramp?
I feel like probably just driving the pallet up the ramp.
So as they hit the ramp, is either Hillary or Koba hitting the close button?
I'll close this up, because I will have gotten aboard and hopped out, seeing them coming rather slapdash, and be ready to shut the door. Because I imagine Koba's kept the PA on and has been like, You've got 30 seconds.
Koba,
Skip.
we're on. Punch it.
Skip, you come take the controls.
I feel like probably Skip was okay, so my impression of this situation is probably that Skip gets Kesh and the hover lift thing up there, but then immediately just drops control of that and starts booking to the cockpit because Skip's intent is to ask if Skip can pilot it.
Oh, Koba hops out of the pilot seat the moment Skip enters the cockpit. He was there in case somebody needed to fly us out of here, like, right now immediately for some reason, but Skip is the better pilot, so when we have the luxury of time.
Skip's gonna kind of skid to a small stop for a moment. That was a lot easier to convince you than I thought it was going to be.
Piloting isn't exactly my forte.
But you do have defensive driving.
Yeah, but this isn't driving, it's piloting.
Skip is gonna happily hop into this pilot seat. This is just a good day for Skip.
Koba will shift over to... Are there weapons controls in the cockpit? I assume yes.
There's a full-out gunnery station, and I'm assuming that there's also some from the co-pilot seat would also have some gunnery capability.
Yeah, Koba will probably get the co-pilot seat then to help pilot / shoot if we need to.
Do we have safety belts in these ships?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Skip's gonna strap in. I may have the reckless trait, but Skip still takes driving safety seriously, kids. Bum, bum, bum. The more you know.
Click, click every trip.
So, have you saw that thing, right? It was knocking.
I'm just in a hurry to leave for some other reason.
Well, how do we know that it doesn't want to talk?
I suppose we don't know that. How do we know it doesn't want to peel our ship open like a tin can?
Just because something's big doesn't necessarily mean that it's mean.
All right, I'll keep the intercom on as we go. Will that help?
Mm-hmm. I guess I'll start piloting us out. I'm not gonna go to, like, incredibly fast or anything. Like, Skip is not feeling the sort of, like, urgency of this situation because Skip does not know whether or not this creature is hostile.
That's pretty fair. Doesn't take much to actually get the ship up into the airlock again, which is about the only way to leave this facility with a ship. There are lights and an actual automated departure system where turn the cockpit this way, follow the lights, and it will then guide you on how to get out of the hangar.
Okay.
As you're turning towards that, you can see CMT. They're waving with both of their hands, just the biggest wave that they possibly can. Almost looks like they've somehow extended their arms a little as they wave goodbye. Then you go up into the airlock, which then just floods with water. The air gets pushed out from the top, and water comes up, and you hear a little bit of creaking coming from the ship, but it seems to be very watertight. Then the door above opens, the lights start doing their progressive thing going up. You rise up, and there in front of you is the face of this giant Quarren.
While still moving upwards, since Koba indicated that he had left the PA system on, Skip is just going to call out a sort of greeting. Not the universal greeting, however. Just a greeting. Hi there! We're gonna go, if that's alright with you, and see how they react.
They are going to attempt... You can see one of their hands moving up and attempting to grasp the side of the silvered shell.
Okay, fine! was right. And I'm gonna try to get out of the way and book it off this planet.
In that case, can I get a... Well, we will start with a pilot space. Yeah, a pilot space roll that is 1 red and 1 purple.
Okay, I am also going to use Enhance for my piloting space.
Oh, and it would also have 2 setback.
Okay.
On account of... Actually, it should be 3, because 1 for environment, 2 for native handling.
Okay. So I need to, in addition to rolling my yellow, green, green, I also need to roll my force to figure out if I can do that. I'm also going to... Okay. I'm just going to roll all this stuff and then talk about how it's going down. Because I've got a lot to do here. Okay. With the way this shakes out at current, I have 1 failure and 1 threat, but I do have 4 light side points. But I can only... You can only do it to a maximum of 1 for enhanced piloting space, right? Is it each point can be a...
Each point can be a success.
Okay.
Correct.
Or a advantage. You get to choose either success or advantage. So in this case, it would be like 4 more successes.
Yeah. So you can't split them up, but yeah, you could get 4 successes off of this.
Yeah, I'm gonna for success this. Although actually, what I would really like to do, since I know probably more stuff like this is coming, is I want to set aside a die. I'll deal with that later. Okay, so yeah, 4 successes. So that'll actually turn the whole thing instead into 3 successes and a threat.
By the force, you're able to get the ship to dodge out of the way of the giant's hand as it's coming to try and grasp the side of the ship, and able to turn and start going away. You then feel a tug on the ship as you're trying to go up. It feels, for all intents and purposes, like you're in a tractor. As much as you're pushing the throttles forward, as much as they're able to go forward, the ship itself doesn't seem to be making any progress.
Kobo, were you experiencing this when you were flying it earlier?
It didn't quite catch us before.
Alright. And here is where I'm just going to make a note that I am going to commit a force die to agility going forward.
So I'm going to try and treat this like a normal tractor beam, though, to be honest, in all my years of running Star Wars, I've never used a tractor beam. What I'm going to go with is that this is going to be a tractor beam, or the equivalent of a tractor beam. It's actually using move to hold you back. As it's reaching out its arm. If anyone's looking at the wonderful viewport in the top of the ship to look back and see what's going on, or at the gunner station, the difficulty on that is a 4 purple check. 4 purple piloting check to try and dodge or yank it or do some inspired bit of maneuvering. Or at least that would be the base, plus the 3 setback for 1 being underwater, 2 for handling. If people are wanting to come up with other things, I am very open to that.
Well, I mean, I say give this a shot. If it doesn't work, then we will reevaluate from there.
I mean, they are also at close range if someone was wanting to attempt to shoot them. We can do both at once, or what have you.
I feel like it makes narrative sense for shootings to start, because if Skip is, trying real hard to, get out of this not quite a tractor beam, then maybe it would make narrative sense for Koba to step in.
Yeah, I'm happy to take a few shots. Swing the guns around.
I forgot we had guns.
I mean, I assume we have just like a...
The dorsal turret.
Dorsal turret, yeah.
Which has twin light laser cannons.
So that's stock. You'd have to have gone out of your way to remove them.
And this being Star Wars, who removes guns?
Yeah, I mean, even if you're a completely legitimate peaceable freighter, you at least want defensive weapons for pirates and stuff. So,
And this one's all chromed out. Shiny.
yeah, which means you're more likely to get pirates. Okay, so what's the difficulty look like for swinging around the dorsal turret and...
I'm going to use a point to make it 1 red and 1 purple.
All right. Ka-chow, ka-chow. 2 failures.
Woo!
Firing some warning shots across their bow.
I think in this case, bow, you mean, by bow, you mean, I guess they don't actually have a nose, do they?
I have an idea.
Yes.
Is there any chance we have, like, at least a temporary barrier that if we open the side of the ship and maybe let a speeder fly into its face, we won't get flooded?
Mm-hmm.
We could probably close another bulkhead door aboard the ship. The cargo bay or wherever the speeder is going to get flooded, I would think, but maybe not the rest of the ship.
Yeah, what Christine said is what I'm thinking.
Okay. I'll assume once we got Cash aboard and they were getting us off the ship, that we were starting to pull the normal, like, get our stuff put away.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like, get the supplies into the supply area, that kind of thing, which leaves just like the pallet and the speeder in that storage area.
Mm-hmm.
You know how when you're pulling something with a motorized vehicle and there's resistance, you hear the change in the tone of the engine?
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm thinking we're going to hear something like that. And Hillary, since the PAs are on, is going to be like, "What's going on? It's not a good sound."
Honestly, I don't even really know where to begin explaining what's going on. It's not good, though. It's holding us back somehow.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying.
Did you try shooting it?
Yes.
Griff.
I know it's bad if you're recommending shooting.
Did you see the thing?
Yes, I saw it, Hillary. I can't explain it, but I saw it.
We were in the water with that. It's terrifying.
Why were you in the water?
Cash, how do you think we got the ship? Cash, get out here. Go.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to try a distraction.
Cash makes a face at you, and then I think she's going to look around here. Is there anything that could act as like a makeshift rope or something?
I'm going to go with many things could act as a makeshift rope.
Like maybe some rope?
Well, rope
Yeah,
or some
that
like
too.
cargo strapping or something.
Yep.
I'm going to hook part of it to like Hillary's belt and hook part of it to the bulkhead.
Did you just put me on a leash?
Look, because if you get sucked out of the ship, then I have to go after you, and I'm a very poor
It's not
swimmer.
going to happen. Go, sit, take this.
Yeah.
And he shoves one of the boxes of supplies into your hands and pushes you.
Okay. Grumbling, Cash will leave that area.
I'm going to turn off the parking brake. And is there, by any chance, a door I can stand by in there where I can hit the release button to open the cargo door and then shut the door in front of me quickly? Or do I need to be standing next to the cargo bay door to shut it?
I'm going to go with think you have to be close to the cargo bay door to shut it.
Is it a button or is it a switch?
It really feels like it should be a switch. Like a lever.
All right, we can do this. Hillary is going to detach the rope that's around his belt and from the bulkhead, and then he's going to tie it onto the switch and loop it under like a hook or something below it, and then go as far away as he can before he yanks that rope to flip the switch down and then run through the door behind him and shut it.
This feels like it should either be a resilience or an athletics. Just on account of there's a lot of actual physical exertion for it. It just doesn't feel like a coordination type thing.
Before I even asked. Shut down in my prime. That's fine. This is not going to go well.
This is why I was trying to tie you to a bulkhead.
Yeah, but that's okay. I needed the rope for something else, and I'm going to
Uh-huh.
run. Hopefully. How close do I actually get to the door?
I'm figuring that this is going to be an average check.
Okay, do you folk mind if I flip a point?
No, by all means, do it.
All right. So Hillary really, really quickly MacGyvers a distance option, makes sure the parking brake is off, and then yanks, turns, and runs.
So this does sound Like it should be actually...
Should be actually what?
Should have been a red.
I mean, I will happily re-roll with a red.
Yeah, it feels like it should be a red on account of it is dangerous.
That's all I needed. Was one success.
Alright, so, though, I do want to get a average... I'm guessing it's going to be agility on account of Hillary would not have any ranks in gunnery or pilot space. Because those are the two skills I figured that trying to get it to actually hit.
But Hillary does have a good agility.
Yeah, Hillary does have a decent agility.
Well, I figure it's literally a tractor beam or suction. Wouldn't it just pull whatever comes out at itself?
This is coming out from the bottom, so I was also going to toss in a couple boosts for that.
Okay.
How well it hits, that sort of thing.
It's also, I think, using the force, so it's actually not like a vacuum, right?
Okay.
Move is directed.
Also, I'm sort of using this roll as a quality of how well it hits, as opposed to just if it hits.
All right, so just agility?
Yes.
Average?
Yes.
Boosts?
I'll go with a boost, sure.
Boost. Singular. Bam. 3 success, 1 advantage.
At this point, I think Kesh is about the only one who can actually see it. Well, Cubble would through the electronics for the turret. The one bay floods. The car itself gets flung out through the now open ramp, goes sailing backwards. The ship itself seems to get a little bit more purchase as it starts to move away. And then the airspeeder hits the outstretched arm of this gigantic being. They bring their arm back, and it's at that point where, because I'm figuring, well, no, to maintain position, Skip would have had to have gone pedal to the metal. It's now just flying forward, as close to flying underwater as you can get, and straining to go up. You can start seeing a little bit of natural light percolating down. And then off to the side, you can start seeing like tidal power windmills and a few corn settlements that are down on higher cliffs. And then you can also see some Moncal cities that are poking down from the surface. It takes a fair amount of time to go from the bottom of the Moncal Ocean to the surface, and you get the entire underwater civilization for it as you go through. With ripplingness, the water breaks away, sweeping off of the cockpit window, and then you are flying in the sky of Moncal.
Well, you were right. They didn't want to be friends.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Heroes of the Hydian Way. You can find show updates on Twitter at The Hydian Way, and you can find me, Ben, on Twitter at Deuterium Ice.
You can find me at 12th Night. That's 12th and Night with a K.
And I'm Ace Picorito, ACEPIKORITO.
You can find me on the Twitter land over at Ren Out of Time.
Oh, and you can find me over at Twitter Sky as Leslet GS.
We are all at thehydianway.com, where you can find previous episodes.
You can find more episodes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. Plus, you can help us out by rating, reviewing, and subscribing.
We're also on Facebook as The Hydian Way. You can holocom us at heroes@thehydianway.com.
If you like what we do and want to support the show, you can find us at patreon.com/thehydianway.
And if you want to send us some credits to make up for the insurance issues we're going to be having in the near future, shoot us a message over at ko-fi.com/thehydianway. And this is the person who was talking about spreadsheets seconds ago.
I think that was that Ren person.
Fair.
It's hard to tell. I'm having a really hard time balancing the voices tonight.
We're pretty cramped in here with all, 9 of us?
Yeah.
9?
Yeah, we're talking about you two, Ben.
But the thing is, if we are who we are, plus who we aren't, who is Ben then? But everyone else.
That's so many people.
Pretty
it
much
just got a lot more cramped.
Yeah. Oh no. We're gonna need a bigger station.
Of course I don't show up.
Oh gosh, yeah, red and purple, totally blanked.
I would have been totally happy with a red gang cancel and a despair showing up.
Of course you would have been.
For this, yes.
Oh gosh, now I'm having flashbacks to Paul and I using the pallets at the storage unit place last week. Yes, Paul wrote it. Anyway.
The pallet or the pallet jack?
There's just these cart things at the storage unit that don't turn very well, but
I can't imagine they would.
We took turns writing it. Okay, I completely didn't catch that earlier. I, for some reason, thought that they had found some other Githrock on this place, not ours. I didn't realize.
Nope. This is a chrome one, I believe.
Yes. This is probably the only chromed out Githrock that there is.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Is Roy, who would chrome out the turtle? Okay, I would, absolutely.
I mean,
Ben. you did, right? It's right here, Ben.